Triller, the company that hosted the pay-per-view event of Jake Paul versus Ben Askren, is asking people who illegally streamed the fight to pay up. They're asking them to go to a website, admit to illegal activity, identify themselves, and pay Triller $50 for the privilege of doing so. At the same time, they've also sued H3H3 Productions and the H3 podcast for allegedly illegally streaming this event. This lawsuit at present is destined to fail. This website offering amnesty is a scam. Let's talk about why. I'm Nick Ricada of Ricada Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. I'm a lawyer, but I'm also a legal and political commentator on YouTube and on Odyssey. Check me out on either platform, but wherever you do, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. Don't miss any videos, okay? All right, let's jump into this thing. And I have to do this. I don't normally do this on videos, but I'm going to do it for this one because I'm going to talk about something that may impact some of the viewers of this audience, and I want to be very clear. I am not your lawyer on this. I am not giving you legal advice. I cannot give you legal advice, most likely in whatever state you're in. And if you're in Minnesota and you're watching this, I'm not your lawyer anyway. We don't have an attorney-client relationship. What you should do, if you are involved in this at all, is you should contact a lawyer in your jurisdiction and get their legal advice. I'm going to give you my opinions on why this thing is a giant scam, why everyone should stay away from Triller, and why the lawsuit against Ethan Klein and several other people is completely bogus. And even though I'm not a fan of H3, I'm not a fan of Ethan Klein. I've seen the stuff he puts out on Twitter. And it's all stupid. I don't like his content. I don't like his personality. I'm not here to defend Ethan Klein in any way, but this lawsuit against him is completely bogus. And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why the lawsuit against him and everybody else is completely garbage. It's entirely there to try and intimidate people into going to this website and admitting to illegal activity and giving Triller $50 for the privilege of admitting to a crime. Absolute junk. Absolute junk. And the worst part is their lawyers have to know it's junk because any lawyer who reads it should know it's junk. And I'm going to tell you why. We'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's talk about what happened. Okay, so Jake Paul versus Ben Askren is a pay-per-view event that happened back in April or something like that. A whole bunch of people watched it. It was a huge event, huge turnout. Triller says, but some people watched it illegally, though, and we're going to go after them. And they go on with their big boastful talk about how they're going to go after people for up to $150,000 a person. Now, the likelihood of getting $150,000 in fines for anyone who streamed this is extremely, extremely low. It's extremely low. It's not reasonable at all. Most of the people who streamed it individually, illegally, at most would be subject to somewhere, some multiple of like $50. Like $50 for the stream that they should have paid for, and then maybe double or triple that, plus some court fees or something like that. You know, they could be somewhere, I don't know, maybe $1,000. I don't know. It really gets hard because they haven't talked about damages yet. But let me be very clear. The lawsuit that they filed is garbage and is likely to be dismissed within the next, or I shouldn't say within the next, but before anything of substance even happens. So they say they're going to go after people for $150,000 each, and that is the statutory maximum that's allowed for violations of the Copyright Act. Pay-per-view companies don't tend to win this award. Even when they win, they don't tend to get this amount because they offer it for much less. So if an individual skips out on paying $50, they're not going to pay $150,000 back to the company when they could have paid $50. Because the company isn't out $150,000, they're out $50. So there is some enhancements that go in, but generally speaking, they're not going to get anywhere near that per streamer, okay? That being said, listen to the language they use here. VPNs all have to comply and turn over the actual IP addresses of each person who stole the fight in Discovery. We will be able to identify each and every person, VPN or not, as each stream has a unique fingerprint embedded in the content. If that sounds like technobabble, that's probably because that's technobabble. They haven't actually sued anybody by name other than H3H3. They've got some other channels and they've got some other websites, but individual streamers, they don't even know who they are. So how are they going to go ahead and prove out this aspect of it? Oh, you're just going to go to VPNs and say, okay, we need a list of everybody who accessed your VPN on this day and all of their IP addresses. Good luck. But this is skipping a huge step. They're probably going to have troubles getting into Discovery in the first place because the lawsuit is garbage, which again, we're going to talk about in a few minutes. But this is a bunch of scary talk to try and convince people to go pay them $50 a pop on that website. And again, you're not my client. I am not your attorney. If my client came up and asked me about this, I would tell them, stay as far away from these scam artists as possible. This is a complete joke. This is a complete joke. And here's why. They're asking you to go and admit to illegal activity. And they're saying that because of your admission to illegal activity and you're giving them a $50, that now you will be removed from a civil suit. But you're not in the civil suit yet. You're not in the civil suit. And so they're going to remove you from a civil suit that you're not in. They may not even have your identification. They may not be able to identify you technically. And even if they do, they've got other problems. But here's the thing. You giving them $50 by a website isn't actually a settlement. It's not a valid settlement. And they admit this because they say you'll actually get a personalized individual settlement offer by email following that. So you don't know what's in there. What if you disagree with the terms? And what if they refuse to negotiate? Well, then you don't have a settlement. Then you've given them your information. You've given them $50. You've admitted to illegal activity, and you may not be out of the lawsuit yet. Not to mention the real big problem. You're admitting to a federal crime. And they can't remove you from federal criminal prosecution for that. They can't do it. If you illegally streamed it, you illegally streamed it. You giving them $50 later doesn't somehow mean you didn't illegally stream it. And the feds won't care. Not that the feds are likely to go after someone for stealing one live stream. It's very unlikely. However, you are admitting to illegal activity. And I would always suggest against doing that without competent counsel, okay? So this thing is entirely a scam. People should stay far away from this website. Far away from it. In fact, in my opinion, no one should ever watch a Triller production ever again based on this. This alone shows just a glaring level of incompetence and bullying that's going on through an alleged legal process. But let's move on to this thing. This is the lawsuit. It's very, very scary. It's filed by Farhad Novian and Michael O'Brien of Novian and Novian LLP. The worst part about this is that those guys actually put their name on this lawsuit. This lawsuit is garbage, and I would wager that Farhad and Michael know that it's garbage. And this is why people hate attorneys, by the way, because this complaint fails a very, very basic test that you are taught in the first year of law school, your first semester most likely in civil procedure, because it's that basic. But Novian and Novian LLP seem like shysters based on this filing. I don't know. Maybe the rest of their firm is fine. Maybe their other practice is good. But this lawsuit is designed to scare people into complying with their little proposed amnesty. And if that was a brainchild of Novian and Novian LLP, well, then both of these guys are sharing the same smooth brain. And all of them should be mocked for this. But okay, so they've filed a lawsuit against several websites, okay? filmdaily.com, accesstvpro.co, online-to-livestream.us, crackstreamlive.com, Sports Today Club, My Sports Club, Bill of Sport, Trendy Clips is a YouTube channel, Mike is a YouTube channel, Your Extra is allegedly a YouTube channel, so is eClip Gaming, it's Little Brandon, are all YouTube channels. And then, of course, the H3 podcast and H3H3 Productions, which I'm going to suggest that they brought in Ethan Klein's companies specifically for the headlines and for the clout. Again, you have to look at this entire lawsuit as if it's entirely constructed to get people on notice so that they go give Triller $50 a shot. That's what this is designed to do. And having a big YouTuber added on there, that's why they do it. That's why they do it. None of this other stuff mattered. This wasn't news. Remember, they filed this on the 23rd. No one heard about this, though. No one heard about this till they added Ethan Klein and the H3 podcast. Then it became news. Suddenly, you add a channel with a couple million subscribers. Now it's news. That's what they've been going for. That's what they're after. Okay, that being said, it's very scary. It's got 8 different counts. Oh my goodness, copyright infringement, violation of the Federal Communications Act in 2 counts, conversion, breach of contract, conspiracy. That conspiracy count is one of your clues that this is a problem, because the judge has already issued a minute order in this case. Sua sponte, on action of the court, the judge looked at the conspiracy claim and said, they don't say anywhere how this is a conspiracy at all. So there's already an order to show cause as to how the conspiracy count is supposed to hold up in court. And that was done without anybody saying anything other than the plaintiffs. But again, that website is up for 1 month to give them amnesty. This lawsuit will not even be served most likely until about a month. And it certainly won't be responded to until a month has gone by, when all of these parties have been served and the responses could start coming in 20 days after service. That's the whole point. It's to drive people to the website. But real quickly, we're going to go through this. Look, it's written. It looks like lawyers wrote it, which they did, of course. But there's a specific thing missing from this lawsuit. And it violates, like I said, one of the things you learn first in law school, which is the Iqbal Twombly standard of federal pleadings. Now, that is a doctrine, I guess, a legal doctrine that says that when you're filing a federal complaint, you must plead sufficient facts to support every single cause of action. And any cause of action that is not supported by well-pled facts is subject to dismissal. That's it. Simple enough. So you just have to put enough facts into your document, and you go ahead and then show how those facts match up with each cause of action. You typically do this by including a section called facts, and then you have several paragraphs of factual allegations against the defendants. Let's see what sections are in here. We've got nature of this action, jurisdiction and venue, parties. These are all good. Okay. Now the facts section should be next. What do we have? Oh, wait a minute. We're into the counts now, the actual causes of action. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and relief. Okay. So there is no fact section. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't include facts elsewhere. Here's the problem. They don't. They don't have any facts to support any of this. And here's the other problem. In your cause of action section, what you should do is you should take the cause of action. You should lay out the elements for the cause of action, and then you should talk about how the defendants actually meet all of those elements of the cause of action. For copyright infringement, you should show that there is an existing copyright, that they did not have a license to do it, that they violated that license willfully, that they, you could go ahead and do that. And how you could support that is to say, here's their argument. They say that these defendants either and stole it or bought it and then uploaded it without authorization, right? They got an individual license to watch it and they uploaded it without having a group distribution license, or they intercepted the signal and stole it. The problem is they don't say what defendants did what. They don't say when the defendants did any of it or how the defendants did any of it. If any of the defendants actually bought it and then uploaded it, there should be a transaction record. Triller should be able to find where Ethan Klein or H3 Productions or H3H3 Podcast or whatever, they should be able to find where that purchase was made, when it was made, and then allege it. The other problem is they don't even allege when any of these people uploaded it or where. There's not a screenshot. There's not a time alleged. Like we don't know if they streamed it live. We don't know if they uploaded it later. We don't know what happened. We don't know if they uploaded it and took it down. None of this is alleged in the complaint. And all you have to do is allege it. You don't even have to necessarily prove it, but they don't even say when any of this happened. There are no facts in this lawsuit, none. And that's why this thing at its present juncture is dead in the water. And they know it. They know it because, again, any lawyer would know it. Because this is the basic elements of writing a claim. They failed at the gate. Good job. I hope your horse dies on the track. That being said, it is entirely possible that they could amend their pleadings. They could do that. They've already done that to add Ethan Klein to the lawsuit so they get headlines. But they could, in theory, amend it and add some facts. But as it stands right now, this thing looks like a complete sham. It's a fake lawsuit. It's an abuse of the legal process. It's an abuse of all the defendants. And what they're going to do here is try and use this to just generate some additional revenue on that Triller site. And anyone who signs up for that and pays them $50, in my opinion, is a sucker. But again, get the opinion of your own lawyer. Well, there you go. Tell me what you guys think down in the comment below. This is a complete joke, and Triller Fight Club appears to be a garbage operation, and Novian and Novian LLP should be ashamed of this filing because, yeah, it's trash. So, but let me know what you think. We'll talk to you then. Until next time. Peace. Peace.